right. YouTube, we are live. Just doing a quick live stream before class today. We're going to be talking about the Bill of Rights, the role John Hancock played in the American Revolution, the Quartering Act, the Third Amendment, and the Fourth Amendment, unreasonable searches and seizures. Let me just grab TikTok really fast. Let me grab the TikTok. Dibby, dibby, dibby. You don't stop. Homeschool. Well, we're going to call it Bill of Rights. Go live. All right, sorry, I was going to put you down for a second, if you don't mind. All right, TikTok, YouTube, we are live. It is a beautiful day in the sunny South, but I'm just doing a quick stream here, so nothing too crazy. I'm just going to sit on the couch. I'm only doing this for a few minutes. It has been a busy morning. I've already got 3 videos out, which is always something I'm happy about when I have 3 videos out by 10 o'clock in the morning. Is there a history class today? Yes, there is. That's what we are going to talk about today at 10:30 a.m. I am teaching my weekly live course on the Bill of Rights, something I'm very passionate about. And today we're going to be learning about a very cool subject, or the children are going to be learning about a very cool subject, which is the reason for the Third and Fourth Amendments. And as Americans, we take for granted some of the things that came before us and were encoded into the Bill of Rights specifically. And one of those things is the Third Amendment. And during the time of the pre-American Revolution, things had gotten so bad in the American colonies that English soldiers could literally knock on your door and say, you have to feed me dinner and give me a place to sleep. And if you said no, you would be arrested. I mean, imagine living under those circumstances. American colonists would walk through the streets, and at any time, an English soldier could walk up to them and demand to search their person, right? Demand to search their body. And the justification for that was the King of England was trying to pay back the banks. The King of England was trying to pay back the bank that he owed $130 million to after the French and Indian War, which was really, if you know your history, that was really a world war, the French and Indian War. It wasn't just something fought in the Americas. So he's trying to pay back the banks. So he says, all right, the colonists, you do it. You pay back the banks. And the colonists are like, no, you borrowed that money. You pay back the bank. Well, the king puts forth the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, the Tea Act, the Townsend Acts. But the colonists, they don't go for it. They protest and they boycott. And they boycotted very, very effectively because these were very independent people. These people, they were farmers. They grew their own food, so they didn't rely on foreign exports, right? They made their own clothing. They made their own shoes. They were blacksmiths. They were carpenters. These were very capable people. They built their own homes. And because of that, the American colonists were able to boycott virtually everything that came from England. I think they only bought 2 things that they still had to buy from England. And other than that, the boycotts were monumentally effective. Hey, good morning, Sea Trooper. The boycotts were monumentally effective. So effective that the Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, they were actually repealed by the English Parliament and the King of England because they were losing money from the Stamp Act and the Sugar Act because the colonists weren't buying anything. So they were protesting, they were boycotting, and one of the things that emerged was smugglers, because while the colonists didn't want to buy English tea, I mean, these people come from England. They needed their tea, right? They needed their, you've been around an English person. They need their tea. They can't go 10 minutes. You English can't go 10 minutes without tea. So the colonists, they were like, all right, well, we'll smuggle tea, right? We'll smuggle tea. So they had all these ships and boats, and they would take them to other countries, get tea, and bring them back into the American colonies. So the English king said, you know what? You're not going to buy our goods, and you think you could just smuggle them from other countries that I've declared is illegal. Hey, the feral patriot, quick stream today because we have class today. He said, you know what? I'm going to pass the Quartering Act. And he put English soldiers everywhere. And those soldiers, they could show up, they could search you, they could search your house, your stuff, right? They could, and because of that, he had the soldiers there. He said, I wouldn't have to have these soldiers in the American colonies if you would just pay your taxes and stop these boycotts. So if I have to have the soldiers there because of you, you're also going to pay for the soldiers. I'm not paying for their housing. I'm not paying for, hey, Foster Bear. I'm not paying for their housing. I'm not paying for anything. So he passed the Quartering Act and said if these soldiers need a place to stay, they'll stay in your houses. Well, obviously, that did not go over well. And one of the people who was very influential during this time was John Hancock. And John Hancock, he's known for his signature, but he was actually one of the most influential people leading up to the American Revolution, and he was one of the people doing the smuggling. He had his ship, which was called the Liberty, and he was taking it to other countries and bringing tea back to the Americas. And John Hancock's ship would actually be confiscated prior to the American Revolution in 1768 by the English Navy. And when his ship got confiscated, it had the opposite effect because he was such a popular figure that the American colonists rallied behind him. He kind of became a martyr. Like, remember John Hancock's ship, right? And the smuggling actually increased. Well, here's where things get interesting. So the Constitution was put forth in 1788, or approved, and John Hancock believed that the Constitution wasn't good enough. He was like, no, it's a good attempt, but the way it is right now, our rights are going to be violated, which, they still have been today, but let's be honest, they've been poking holes in it for 300 years or whatever it is. So, perspective, right? So he says, no, we need something called a Bill of Rights. And it was John Hancock who proposed, I actually proposed a Boston muzzle party, right, when they were doing the muzzles. But anyway, so John Hancock proposed the Bill of Rights. So that the Bill of Rights, these rights that everyone's like, we have free speech, we have the Second Amendment. Well, you owe John Hancock for that. That was his doing, right? So he proposed the Bill of Rights, and within that, he included the quartering, the Third Amendment. A soldier can't just come to your house and say, I'm staying here. And the Fourth Amendment, protecting Americans from unreasonable search and seizure. Now, again, I understand that these rights are violated relentlessly. But the point is that we want to teach our children where these things come from, like why these things are in place. And when you understand John Hancock's role in the pre-Revolutionary War and the Revolutionary War, then you say, oh, okay, and he proposed the Bill of Rights. The colonists understood why it's not good to just allow the government to search all your stuff, right? Why it's not good to just give the government carte blanche power to say, oh, our soldiers are staying here. And a lot of people don't know this about John Hancock. He's known for his signature, but not only did he propose the Bill of Rights and, 1791, it's approved because of him, but even when the American Revolutionary War was being declared, everyone talks about George Washington was appointed the general of the Continental Army. You know what they don't tell you? You know who technically the real first president of America was? And this will blow your mind, because even if you look up presidents in the articles, under the Articles of Confederation, which John Hancock was one of those people, right? But he wasn't the first one. What they don't tell you is at the Second Continental Congress, before the Articles of Confederation, when the Founding Fathers decided, yes, we're going to declare we're our own country. Do you know who the president of that was? The president of the Second Continental Congress? That was John Hancock. That's been your history lesson for today. I'll be teaching it to the children. Anyone interested in having your children take my classes or what I do, you can go to www.classicallearner.com. Check out Homeschools Connected when you get there and use the discount code FREEDOM. It is $10 a month to join. You get access to my Bill of Rights course, my course on propaganda that I teach using the Cubs to Bears children book series, our study into the media industrial complex, tracking the money, and our year-long nature unit study. All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun, but I do have to run because I have a classroom full of children waiting to learn about American history, their rights, the American Revolution, John Hancock, and what it means to be free. Thanks, guys.